because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And you just have to kind of go with the flow. All right, we're back. Thank you, Dana, for coming back. Hi, Emily Pinto. Let's see. We're waiting for her to tune in. Maybe we'll just take, if Laura can't, maybe we'll just take a random person. That would be sort of funny, right? And just be like, hey, what's going on? Jenny Banks. Hold on. Okay. Is she there? We're having trouble. So anyway, Laura Prepon wrote this book, you guys. It came out on April 7th. I'm sure she was thinking she was going to be doing a big, massive book tour because she probably worked really hard on this book. It took her a long time. She kind of bears her soul. It's very raw and real. And now she has to do everything virtually, which is probably a major league bummer for her. So we wanted to give her an opportunity to talk about her book. As I said, she was nice enough to be our special guest editor on Wake Up Call with her weekend recommendations. And now we can't seem to connect with her. So what the heck, everybody? What do you think, Adriana?
I think we can wait one more minute, but it's not popping up, Laura, if you're in
Laura,
there.
are you there? Hold on, Laura. Why don't we wait a minute and see if anybody has any questions? And just to say hi while we're waiting.
Oh,
what can
Dylan.
a fabulous out-of-work teacher do? Hi, Dylan. I have your sweatpants on. I have your my friend Dylan Magee, who's up for a Webby. I'm getting ready to vote for you, Dylan. I think it was your Black History series that you did. So I just got your email, and I'm gonna register a vote for Dylan Magee, who created Makers, who's an incredible person. I love her, and she sent me these. Oh, did I ever watch that 70s show? I watched it a little bit. I think it kind of came at a time in my life when I was, if you get an error where they can't connect, Laura needs to put her Instagram public and not private. But I think, hi, China Girl.
She is public.
She is public, though. So that's why we can't figure it out. What is my next Time 100 interview? Thank you, Kristin, Mika, for asking that. I actually interviewed two Black doctors about the fact that COVID-19 is disproportionately affecting the African American and Latino community. And it was a fascinating conversation because it was about socioeconomic factors. It was about the fact that housing conditions, access to health care put a lot of people of color at a disadvantage. Also, it was about the fact that many of these folks are in these the essential services jobs, so that creates a problem. So that puts them at a greater risk. And then we talked a lot about genetic predispositions and the fact that scientists still don't really understand why certain populations are at greater risk for certain diseases. Dr. Carp from California, from UCLA, talked to me about the fact that there are certain developments like hypertension was developed as actually something to help previous generations retain water, and then it became a problem. And there are all sorts of genetic factors that are work that scientists are really just starting to understand. At Stand Up to Cancer, we have this thing called the Equity Initiative, where we're trying to get more minorities in clinical trials so that we have a much more inclusive understanding of the biological differences between different populations and different races. So check out my Time interview about that. I thought it was super interesting. I hope you guys did too. I want to do something on domestic violence and child abuse because, as you can imagine, during this scary period, those things have increased. And oftentimes people are afraid of shelters. They're afraid of leaving their home. But police departments are apparently getting a lot more calls about these kind of domestic situations. Thanks for all you're doing to get us through this. Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you. I appreciate it. I'm trying. Adriana is part of our new company. Adriana is my assistant. But she's also helping me write my book because Adriana wrote her senior thesis at Notre Dame about my career, which was funny. And it was changing, what was it called?
Shifting Perceptions.
Shifting Perceptions of Femininity.
Katie Couric's career and shifting perceptions of femininity in broadcast journalism. Quite the mouthful.
Yeah. So anyway, Adriana interviewed me for her thesis about a year ago, right?
In November of 2018.
In November of 2018. And when I was looking for a researcher to help me with my memoir and help me look up all this stuff, I said to Adriana, hey, Adriana, you know more about me than I know about me. Would you like to come work with me? And so Adriana is, and thank God she's quarantining with me because I'm getting a lot done. I'm writing today about when my sister Emily was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, which was unbelievably traumatic for our family, obviously, and also about the election, as I mentioned. So we're watching Recount tonight, so I can remember that. The 2000 Olympics in Australia in Sydney, which were my favorite Olympics to cover. I just love Australians, and I had so much fun at that Olympics. And then shortly after that, it was actually during the 15 months when my sister was sick, I also covered 9/11. So there is a lot. Oh, someone asked me what I thought of the morning show. I thought it was really well done and really interesting, and I'm going to write about that in my book too. So I've been working super hard on that. I met you after that Olympics. Hi, Danielle. Okay, you
I
guys.
think we're going to reschedule Laura. She's having
Kristin saw my sister's picture in the Virginia Capitol. Well, there's a cancer center named after Emily at the University of Virginia. And anyway, let's see. Do you want to try this one?
I think we're going to reschedule Laura.
I think we're going to reschedule it, you guys. I'm so sorry about this.
She's dealing with some tech issues still.
Which morning show do you watch now? I try to watch all of them. I love the Today Show still, obviously. But I also love Gayle King. I think we can call it. Oh, I think you can call it. Does call it mean?
Yeah.
She keeps getting an error message. So, hi, UVA Tridelts. Try to get Jennifer Aniston on. That would be fun. I think she's having a Wi-Fi problem, you guys, on her end. But before we say goodbye, let's just chat for a minute. That would be great. That's a great idea to call a teacher.
That is a great
idea. That is a great idea. If you have a teacher that you think would be fun to talk to on Instagram Live that we can all celebrate for his hard work or her hard work, we would love to do that. Someone said, hi, that's a very loyal follower that you want to interview me. Well, you can ask me any questions, you guys, as long as you kind of keep it clean. And thank you. I'm trying to report on this story as best as I can. It's really challenging. Oh, Kathy Najimy. I love Kathy Najimy. Hi, Jake Cohen. I love Kathy. In fact, I should do that. See if Kathy's around. We should see if Kathy's around because she is the best. I love her. This is very spontaneous, isn't it? No? You don't like the spontaneity?
No, no, I do. I just I love it.
Oh, someone made the Alison Roman pasta. And Carrie I just had another enchilada, a leftover one. So fetch the rollades. But Carrie made a delicious meal. And tonight, I don't know what we're making. It's just the three of us. Molnar split. And I'd love to interview Kathy. You know what? Why don't I try to interview Kathy maybe tomorrow? She's the greatest person. Does anybody else have any other questions? Who would be a fun? Richard Curtis? You mean from Love Actually? That Richard Curtis? Have I tried Ethiopian food? I have. I have tried Ethiopian food. I can't. Oh, Kathy. She's here.
Request.
Kathy, request us and we'll bring you in. It's like Kathy Najimy. I love you. I think someone must have just said, get Bill Gates on and let Heim talk. I interview Hugh Jackman. That's possible. So Kathy, you just have to request to join us. Molnar. Okay, she's going to request everybody. I love this. Gloria Steinem. I'd love to have Gloria on. Which recount? I'm watching the one that Jay Roach did. I watched, obviously, Game Change because they used me interviewing Sarah Palin, but they used Julianne Moore instead of Sarah Palin, but they used my questions, which was sort of funny. But I'm going to recount the one that Jay Roach did. I can't even remember who was in recount. I saw it so long ago. Kathy Najimy, girl, get in here. Okay. Can everyone still see me when you're doing that?
Yep, they can.
Hi, everybody. Okay. I hope it's pretty where you are. It's a beautiful day here, which completely changes your mood, don't you think? Kathy Najimy, you have to request, woman.
We're looking for you, and we're
not seeing you. Do you know how to request on Instagram Live?
We're looking to invite you too, but it's still not happening.
It's not? Do you think there's something wrong with on our side?
I mean, Emily Pinto is reporting that everything looks great on her end.
Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Kathy needs to log out and go back into request. Kristin, you're like an IG Live expert here. Kathy, so my friend Kristin said you need to log off and come back in to get in live. And and Ann Keating's here and Dana's here. We're gonna wait a few more minutes for Kathy, and if she can't come in, well, I promise I'll make arrangements to get her in another time. So Kathy should get off and get on again. So Kathy, that's what everybody is saying. It's beautiful, 70 degrees in Florida today. It was 93 2 days ago. I love Rachel Maddow. I'd love to interview her, but she's working so hard. I kind of don't even want to bother her because she writes that whole thing. Kathy, scroll up the comments until okay.
All right.
Adriana,
well, I don't want...
No. I'm just laughing because you keep burping. Okay, you can click on her comment.
Oh, there we go. She got it.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Wait.
But it's
not
there happening.
She is.
There we go.
There she is. Okay, I can't believe it, you guys. Ready? I think...
Are you kidding me?
Kathy!
Katie!
This is so funny. Were people, I don't know who Jake Cohen is, but Jake must be a friend of yours. Do I know Jake?
I don't know. I never remember anything. Jake, am I like your best friend and I've forgotten and I'm offending you right now?
No, that's fine. But he said, ask you to come on because I was supposed to interview Laura Prepon about this book she just wrote and she can't get in. So everyone's like, get Kathy Najimy in here.
Well, here's the thing. I was watching, because I watch all of your live Instas, and I was watching it, and then I send a little heart or something. I'm not technically as advanced as I should be, although I'm very smart, just not technically. So then I heard you say, Kathy, get on, and I'm screaming to my husband, say, hi, Danny.
Hi, Danny. Hi. How are you?
And I'm screaming in the kitchen, how do I request? How do I request?
Well, oh, right. Someone's watching you in a movie called How to Fall in Love.
Oh, I did that. Was that a Hallmark movie? I think it was. That was so much fun. I got to play a waitress, waitress. And at first they were like, oh, we really want you to stick to the script because it's Hallmark and we know you're a big improviser. You improvise in most of your projects. Well, 30 minutes in, I was just making up all the lines and they were letting me keep them. So that was a really great, fun time for me.
Oh, fun. I'm so happy to see you. You look great. Everyone's saying your hair looks really great for a last minute thing.
Full disclosure, I had 2 Zooms and 2 on-camera interviews. I literally have brushed my hair more since quarantine than I did when I
Well, tell me what you're doing. What kind of Zooms and live Instagrams? Tell us what you're up to.
What am I up to? Well, I'm cooking because I get so inspired by you and Molnar. And I always say to my husband, like, why can't we be like them? Why can't we make like a specialty cocktail and have a beautiful table with a candle? So last night I made eggplant parmesan, which was
Wow.
delicious.
How was it? Was it good?
It was delicious. He's not a big fan of eggplant, my husband, so I made pasta for him. It's like when you have one kid who won't eat any vegetables, so you have to make a special meal for them.
Yeah, and
That's
they
what
only
I
eat
make for
chicken tenders. Is that Danny's deal?
Yeah, it's Danny's deal. But what am I working on? I created with my friend Mary McCormick. You know Mary McCormick,
Of
really.
course.
We were talking one day, and we both love games. We're sycophant game show contestants and fans. So we came up with a game show for quarantine times that people can play at home with their cell phone. And it looks like we just sort of sold it.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us a little bit about what the game is or how you play it?
Like,
or do you feel like that there might be someone might steal your intellectual property?
In like 4 days, when they really sign something with like a real pen, then I'll be able to come back on and tell you what it is.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. And I'm still working on, yes, honey. She knows. I tell her this all the time in person. Every day I say, how can I be more like Katie Couric? Like during quarantine, like, how can you get so many things done and be so smart and so important and then so fun and be having like a perfect cocktail? I always say that. Like,
You're crazy.
How can we be more like Katie?
Oh, you do not want to be like me. You're crazy. It's all smoke and mirrors, Kathy.
It is not. You're literally one of the smartest people I know, and fun. So that combination is difficult.
Oh,
I know some really, really smart people and some really fun people, but like you are so. All right. Anyway, what else?
Okay, I love this. Cut it out, Kathy. Just cut it out.
Cut it out more. We are still, you and I have talked about this. I have something in the works for a TV project about the women's movement, Ms. Magazine, and my very good friend, heart and soul friend, Gloria Steinem. Yay! Which you were a part of her birthday video, and she was so thrilled. So working on that, and it looks like we have a great writer. I can't say her name except for since I love games, let me give you a hint.
Okay.
She wrote one of the first truly, shockingly feminist comedy, heart-wrenching movies ever. One of the first. And
one of the first feminists.
Yes. And it stars 2 women.
I know. Are you talking about? I know. No. Are you talking? I'm afraid to guess because I don't want to sound dumb.
You couldn't force yourself to be dumb.
2 women?
2 women in a car. But you know what?
Thelma and Louise. Hello. Oh, I know who this is. Don't tell me. Don't. She's married to the musician. I'm sorry. My brain has turned to mush, Kathy, since quarantine.
Good, because I've signed so many non-disclosure forms that I can't say anything yet. But
okay.
And look at this. I mean, it sounds like, oh God, it's so exciting and so busy. But this project has been going on for 5 years now. So just cross everything.
Hallie Corey.
I could be, but there's so many great women writers out there. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's who you're talking about, which is awesome. I was gonna say beaches, and then I was like, no, not beaches.
Beaches, one of my favorites. I used to lay on my bed with my dog, Alfini, who's now in heaven, and then Princess, and watch beaches. And that's a movie that dogs love. They're always just.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I actually was thinking I would like to rewatch Beaches, but that movie is so upsetting. And when Barbara Hershey is looking for a picture because she wants to see her hands, do you remember that scene? Where she's looking desperately for a photograph.
Yes, yeah.
And I think it's because there's something about her hands or her mother's hands, or anyway, it just kills me. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to watch a show that is too sad like that. I agree. I've been watching Adriana and I and Carrie a little bit, Normal People on Hulu.
Oh, that's so good.
Have you been watching it? Wait, where are you, Kathy?
I'm in my office, and look who's behind me. It's Bette Midler.
It's Bette. Is that from Hocus Pocus?
No, I have been most of my life since
I was trying to zoom in.
Yeah, since I was 16, Bet was a huge inspiration for me. And that's the second album I ever could afford to buy, her second album. So I keep it behind me at my desk to remind me of, you know, where you were and where you came from and ahead. I just love it so much. I got it at Kmart.
Let me see. Oh, that's so great. Look at that picture. That's a beautiful picture of her too. So I remember somebody said that you guys might do a remake of Hocus Pocus. I read that not too long ago. Was that just a vicious, or is that not a vicious? Was that just a rumor? I'm just drinking water.
It was a vicious rumor. No, you know, they've been talking about it for a long time. There have been, this is what I can say. I'm full of secrets. It's so funny. I'm like a Russian spy. It's just a movie. We've been talking to Disney, and it's just that Sarah Jessica and Bet and I all have so many family things and projects and stuff. It's sort of, when could it all come, and could it possibly all come together? But we're open to discussing it.
That, someone said, Kathy, you look very pretty tonight. Someone said I deserve a gin or vodka after my day of writing. Yeah. It's hard. I'm writing this book, Kathy, and it's I don't know why I took on this project. What?
You do.
I do. I mean, I love it, but it's just a tremendous amount of work because I'm 63 years old. So writing about 63 years and all the different things I've seen and done, it's like, how do you pick what to focus on? It's really hard. So
hard.
But at least it gives me something to do, during this terribly weird time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 63 as well. I remember we celebrated our 50th together. But yeah, and one of the things that I'm absolutely stuck on is starting the book. I will do every single thing on my list, Katie. I will do every single thing. I will do every charity, order every item I need to order, call people back. I cannot start the book, and I'm so proud of you, because I know what place you're in right now. It's like very static, but it's the best thing you can do. And just starting, I should really just be saying this to my own self, but just starting is cracking half of it. And you have a life like no other. You literally have a life like no other human being ever at all. I've been following you, and then we became friends, but I'm still such a fan. And this is going to be such a gift, not only for you to check off your list, which I know how important that is, but what a great, brave thing to do, because it's endless. Like, you don't know where to begin and where to end and what, but like, I love that you have somebody there to bounce things off of. That is the key.
Yeah. And you know what I'm also doing, Kathy, is I'm taking chunks of my life, because I think so many of us live life in chapters. Maybe that's a good title, Living Life in Chapters. But,
right here, everybody.
Otherwise you get so overwhelmed, but you say, oh, I'm going to write about when I went to CBS and what that was like for me, or I'm going to write about when my husband got sick and what that was like for me. So I think it does stir up a lot of emotion, and it's very cathartic, and you end up having these intense dreams and thinking about things. But I do think I tell my friends I'm writing this because while I still remember things. I know that sounds crazy, but if your memory starts to fade a little bit, and luckily so much, even though I never was a journaler, so much of my work has been preserved. God, thank God for the internet. I would be so hosed, Kathy, without being able to Google things.
Look up your life.
It's terrifying to Google yourself. Nobody wants to do that. But and that sounds dirty too, but I'm lucky that there's so much that's been preserved. So I spend a lot of time researching my own life, which is crazy.
You know what? I'm right with you. I'm losing a little tiny bits of my memory, which is making me crazy, because you know how much I love to play games. And I'm like, I know that guy's name. I know it. But yeah, I just start reading things about myself that other people have written and go, oh, I remember that. I remember that. And like, you have such a great, gorgeous, smart family. It's going to be the best thing. I'm so excited for you. You know what I'm excited for? I'm excited to read it. I'm excited for people to read it. We know you'll get great reviews, but I'm excited.
I don't know about that.
But I'm excited for when you finish it, and then you send it off and you've done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've done it.
Someone just said memory loss is horrifying. It is, I don't know about you, but sometimes it just takes it. I take an extra beat or two to remember names. And I'm like, wait, how come that's, why is that happening?
I'm telling you, the other day I was in the kitchen and I said something to my husband, and I said, like the woman, I used this woman, of course, now I'm not remembering her again. She's a famous TV cook, and she made a couple of mistakes, but then she later learned and apologized. And I used her character. I did a.
Are you talking about Paula Deen?
Paula Deen. Yes, Paula Deen. See, look at ding ding ding. I did Medea, one of those Medea movies, Medea Christmas, and I based my character on Paula Deen. And so I said to my husband something like, "Oh my God, I'm using so much butter in this. I feel like, what's her name? What's?" And he had to look her up. And then I said, "Don't tell me, but give me a hint."
I know, it's just terrible.
Well, it's either terrible or whatever. People start to, you know what I mean? Like, whatever.
I know, but it's frustrating because then, you can't think of it, and then you panic a little bit, and you're like, and then I think when you panic, it makes it a little harder to remember. So yeah, someone's saying there's such a thing as quarantine brain, and hopefully, oh, Ellie just said, OMG, love you, Kathy. My daughter's watching.
I'm a fan of your daughter. I'm a fan of your whole family. Hi.
Aww.
Hi, Ellie. I don't know where my daughter, maybe, wouldn't it be great if Sammy just had some good news. My daughter is a singer-songwriter, and she's written a bunch of songs, and she's been on tour, and her album's coming out. But yesterday she came into the bedroom with tears in her eyes, and I said, "Sammy, what's wrong?" And I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "NPR." And I said, "What NPR?" I never think of, because she's 23. I'm like, are you? She said, "There's a guy named Bob Boylan on NPR who is a music critic, who I guess she really respects and follows." And he said great things about her video and put it on his top 10 list. And
oh, that's awesome.
I know, and she was so excited. And I said, "Well, why do you like him so much?" And she said, "Because he just talks about what he likes. He never talks about what he doesn't like. And he's so smart and measured." She's going to kill me for saying this on.
Oh, no, you have to. Well, how can we listen to her music? Because we want to support her.
Samia, Samia, or Samia the band. And the newest video, which she directed, is called "Is There Something in the Movies?" She writes all of her own music, and oh God, I have to stop talking about her because I know if she hears about this, she's going to have such an attack.
No, that's so nice. You're proud of her. She's adorable.
I'm proud of her, and I bet you can relate to this too, because people always say, "Oh, your daughter's so talented," and I say, "Yeah, I'm really excited." But the honest to God truth, the honest truth is, if your kid is not addicted or unhappy, depressed, or sick, then I'm good. Like, whatever she decides to do in her life, I could really care less. It's great that she sings and writes, and it's exciting and all like that. But honestly, I mean, I used to say if she's not addicted and not pregnant, but now that I'm getting older,
you'd like her to be pregnant?
Maybe in like 5 years. And she goes, "But Mom, I'll be on tour." And I say, "Hand me the baby and go on tour. You know I'm a good mom. Come back."
Does she have a boyfriend?
Yes, she does.
All right. As someone asked me what Ellie does, and Ellie's a writer in LA. I hope this is okay, Ellie, if you're still watching. Ellie works on an Amazon show. She's a writer for a show called The Boys, which is about sort of flawed superheroes, and it's on Amazon. And she's, they do the writer's room virtually now, and so every day she's got a virtual writer's room going, and it's so interesting what's going to happen with all these productions, isn't it, Kathy? When people are going to be able to start shooting and creating content again. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, well, I have, because it's really affected my business. I act, but I also I'm a keynote speaker, and I love that part of my life so much, as are you. And all of my keynotes got canceled because it's where a bunch of people are together in a room. And but what I have heard is there are going to be some television productions to come back slowly, but they're going to have some guidelines. And the guidelines are that the crew, of course, can be covered head to toe. So it's going to be less than 10. This is just hearsay, by the way. Like, don't have like Fox or NBC call me up.
Okay.
Uh, what I'm talking about. But they said if the actual cast is like 8 or less, then that will be allowed because they won't have any contact with anybody other than each other, and no background artists and no crowd scenes. So even now with the series that I've been working on with Gloria, we've been thinking, what about the crowd scenes? And we say, well, it's in the 70s, so we'll have some stock footage.
I was going to say, and I feel like you can do so much with what is it?
CGI.
CGI. Thank you. See, it just
Call
happened.
it game.
It just happened to me. But you can do so much with CGI and other stuff that, you know, and plus, you know, the writing process takes a long time. So hopefully you can find, you know, hopefully the person who shall not be named can be working on it. And you guys can get it in good shape. So when things do lift, my nephew's a director out in LA, and I think he was talking about doing a production and being quarantined, and they're trying to figure out sort of how to make all this stuff happen. So anyway, should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's here's the thing. I mean, and you have spoken about this a lot too. It's going to slowly come back, but it's going to be a new norm. And I think some of that new norm is desperately needed. I think being more thoughtful and considerate, especially about the environment. You know, we are lucky enough to live 2 blocks away from Central Park. Because when people, like all my family calls me from San Diego, how are you? How is everything? And I say, you know, it's the same for us as it is for you, just 10 times in a big city. And of course, there's loss and devastation and sickness and unemployment. And, you know, there's so many awful things that's happening throughout the world. But when I go to Central Park with my husband and our dog, literally, and I'm not this kind of person who's like a greeting card kind of person, you know this, but I hear the birds singing in a completely different way. The squirrels are having a heyday. They're all on scavenger hunts, having the best time. There are some things, and also the humanity. Are you in New York?
I'm in East Hampton, actually.
Okay, you're in East Hampton with the beautiful tomatoes that you grow.
I mean, I have to say I feel very lucky because I did go back to the city, and I love New York City, but it was a little eerie, and you know, it did make me a teeny bit nervous, Kathy, when I was back there.
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of people. I mean, we're fortunate enough to have a patio in our apartment, so we can go out there. We go to the park. Everyone's wearing a mask. You know, like I said, my relatives in San Diego keep saying, how is it? And I say, it's really just like it is for you, but we don't have a car, which would be nice.
Yeah.
And we have the park. We have the park right there. And Starbucks is reopening. Shh, I didn't say that out loud, but it's I'm so excited about that.
Really? When are they reopening?
Oh, well.
So they haven't been doing curbside service or anything like that?
By our house, they just started.
Nice.
So happy. You know what I never do? I want to read some of these. I got to put my glasses on, my grandma glasses on. I want to read some of these things and see what people are saying.
Oh,
someone
said, I think we all needed a time of refocus, find the positive in all of this. I do feel, I don't know. On the one hand, I get super hopeful about how this will recalibrate our priorities and our values, make us more compassionate towards each other. And then on the flip side, I hear all this acrimony and strife, and obviously a lot of people hurting, but even so, a lot of anger and resentment and conflict that seems, and that we seem more divided. I wish there could be more unity, or something that we could feel a true sense of togetherness about. And I haven't, maybe because I read too much news, and it just is, that part I find distressing and depressing and upsetting.
But that's literally been the root of the last 4 years is that, I mean, you and I have been through a lot of elections, and I went out. I think you and I discussed this. I'm doing a documentary about the 53% of married white women who voted for Donald Trump, because in my lifetime, there has been a lot of division, but never this divided. The country has never been this specifically divided in my lifetime. So I went out to Pennsylvania with a small film crew to just talk to the women there and get to know them. And people keep saying, well, why you have such a different point of view? Well, that's my point of view, but they won. I mean, caveat, 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 but I do think it's time that we get to know them.
Oh, I agree. I mean, but I'm interested in what they had to say to you.
They said, this one woman, she wasn't she was just about 40 years old. And I said, do you mind? I went up, I was in a car show outside at like 8 p.m. in the dark, which was great because I wasn't recognized a lot, which was so helpful. And I just said, hey, I'm just going around the country and talking to women. And like I said to you, it's never been as divided as it is right now in my lifetime. And I said, can I ask you who you voted for? And she said, I didn't vote. And I said, okay, how come? And she said, I didn't register. And I said, why? And she said, I didn't like either of the choices. And I said, okay, well, I understand why you may not be a fan of Trump. P.S. I know there are people out there listening who have all different opinions, but I am not a fan of Donald Trump. So I said, I understand why, but why not Hillary? And she said, I just don't think, I think it's our grocery delivery. I just don't think, hold on. Do you want to see if it is? Hold on.
Yeah, sure.
Hello. An envelope for me? Oh, great, great. Come down and get it. Thank you so much. Bye. I'm on with Katie Couric. She said, I don't think women have the bones to run the country. And this was like a 40-year-old, this was a young person. And I said, okay, so because of her uterus, like that's why she couldn't? And she said, yeah. I said, all right. And then I talked to some other women at a Cracker Barrel. I don't know about you, but I had never been in a Cracker Barrel, and it's like a Disneyland for overeaters. It's so much fun. Everything is fried. Everything.
Yeah.
Salad was fried. Everything is fried. So I went into the Cracker Barrel, and I was talking to some women. They were looking at some stuffed animals. I just went up to pretend to look at the stuffed animals. And I said, are you from around here? Can you tell me who you voted for? And they said, Trump. And I said, okay, do you feel comfortable telling me why? And she said, one of the most interesting things, amusing things ever. She said, okay, so if Hillary was going to be president, then Bill would be the first lady. And I said, well, he'd be the first man, but I get where you're going. She said, and traditionally, the president goes around and talks to all the heads of countries. And I said, yeah. And she said, and the first lady meets with the wives. And I said, well, a lot of the heads of countries are men, but I get where you're going. And she said, so Bill would be meeting with all of those wives of the heads of the countries. Can you imagine what that might be like, him alone with those women?
Did you tell her that like Angela Merkel and Jacinda in New Zealand and the head of Denmark, and that there are a lot of actually men who are married to leaders now?
I did. When she said their wives, I said, but you understand, Emma, that there are a lot of women who run countries, but that didn't really click. But she was really concerned that she didn't want to vote for Hillary because Bill might be alone with the wife of the head of the state. It was a real concern. I mean, I laugh about it now, but she, but so the next day some of the women that we just met all over, we brought back to it. There was a county wine fair and they happened to be there. So we went there and we got to sit in chairs and really go deep. One woman said, I really miss prayer in school. And I said, well, do you think that's something that is between you and your school, or you and your family, and you and your church? Or do you really think that's something that Donald Trump is going to enact for you? So, we had nice talks, and, it was really interesting. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. And I think it's important, I think it's important because we become so tribal and we never seem to talk to people who think differently than we do, who live differently than we do, have different life experiences and perspectives. So I think it's exacerbated, honestly, by the polarized media where people get affirmation instead of information. That's the line that I always use, but I really think in many ways it's true. But anyway, let's not get too political here because as someone said, that's not really helping our unifying conversation. But I don't know. I just wish we we could sort of all stick together on at least some issues. And anyway, what are you gonna do? So tell me, what else have you guys been doing? Have you been cooking at all? Have you been, how have you been passing the time?
Well, I've been really busy because you want to say yes to every charitable organization and every friend who has a podcast and every interview. You did a podcast that I didn't. I hadn't heard about him until recently. Oh, what's his name? Danny Pellegrino? Is that it?
Yeah.
I was really impressed. We really got down and deep. It wasn't face to face. It was just on the phone.
Oh, he loves you, I think. Yeah.
He was really, it was a really moving thing. So I've been busy with meetings with the Ms. Foundation, and my friend Carol Jenkins runs the ERA thing,
right.
That and just whoever needs to have an interview or do a Zoom or whatever, I'm into it because I'm wearing nothing but panties down below. I don't wear any.
You kook. You creep.
One good shirt is all you need, and a little bit of like tinted sunscreen, although where's the sun? But and also watching TV. I've never watched a lot of bad TV, and we've been watching a lot.
You've been watching bad TV?
Yeah, like really, really
interesting. What's the worst television show you've watched?
Well, reality TV, like watching this thing, and
I don't watch reality TV. I just can't deal with it. I think with all due respect to everybody who might enjoy it, and I know it's kind of a way to, escape reality, but I honestly, I can't watch those shows. I can't watch the Real Housewives show.
I never watched those. Yeah.
But my daughter, who's very well educated, is really, she loves it, and she's 24, and a lot of girls her age love it, and I don't get it.
I've never watched any reality except for game shows like Chopped and Top Chef.
Oh yeah, I love those. That's fun, but some of these I don't get it. No. Although I did watch, what's that show we watched about the dating? Love is Blind. That was so
fine. I was just going to say that.
I watched that when I was in LA in February, and I was like, wow.
It's the best, most delicious end of the world ever. And here's the new thing. You're watching it, and then there's a secret thing that happens. It ends, and then the TV goes 3, 2, 1, and then the next one is on. So you're tricked. So my husband said, "Oh, you have to watch this. It's hilarious." I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, but I'm going to. It's called Love After Lockup, and it's about people who write to people in prison, and they hook up over the mail and the internet, and then they get out, and it's about the stories about what happens to those people when they get out. It is, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but it is, and it's another one that you can't stop. The next one just comes on and you go, well, I have to see what happened to Michael and Amanda, and the next one.
I've never heard of that, but did you, and then we'll go, but did you watch Tiger King?
I did. It hurt my feelings a little bit because I'm such an animal person. I'm just an animal wimp. Like, I can't even see somebody yell at an animal. So I didn't love it as much as anybody, but my husband has made all of these songs. He's a singer, a comedy singer. He's made all of these songs that he's put on the internet that have huge followings, that are people auditioning for Tiger King the musical, which is just fake.
Are they doing Tiger King the musical? Because honestly, there's so many projects. Nicolas Cage is playing Joe Exotic in the movie. I think Kate McKinnon is playing Carol Baskin in another project. So it's I think game on. I think Danny needs to do Tiger King the musical.
I mean, he's doing the fake auditions, which are just as hilarious. But speaking of Kate, isn't Kate McKinnon literally one of the funniest people alive?
She is. I
I,
love her.
I love her so much. Her, and there's a young woman right now on
Chloe Feynman.
I don't know Chloe, but I know Meg Stalter, who is an
Oh,
improv artist, and does Instagram. I had my friends were following her, and I looked at her, and she is so brilliant. With the minute Saturday Night Live starts up again, I know she's going to be on it. She just improvs these characters, and I am in awe of her. I hope she hears this.
so, what's her name again?
Meg Stalter. I bet a
Meg
lot of
Stalter.
you guys know Meg Stalter, right? I'm looking to see if Carrie has an apron next time she gets. Oh, hello. This is so fun. You're eating this stuff. What else, Katie?
That's it. That's it, Kathy. Well, I'm so glad we did this. It was so spontaneous and instantaneous. And so
I was literally watching to watch you interview because I watch your interviews and I read.
Someone said Meg Stalter is amazing. John Sully said Meg Stalter is amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check her out. I think there are a lot of interesting people emerging. I'm amazed at how creative people are on social media, and some of the things that are being created. I think I really, I don't know. I find that really kind of a positive thing in this whole.
I watch your and read, but mostly watch your wake up call because of the videos I like. First thing in the morning with my coffee, but full disclosure, my first thing in the morning is 1 p.m. because we're really late people. So I start out my day with a decaf Americano, 2 stevias, and Katie Couric wake up call. Just
You are so sweet.
Not really, not to everybody, but
yeah. Well, I think you are, and someone wants to. Somebody keeps asking, and I don't mean to ignore him. About updates on your singing neighbor.
Oh my gosh!
What is that?
Okay, so we live in an apartment house, and next door is a music teacher. So every time we walk by, there's a different opera student singing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so one day I just put my camera on and I stood outside the door and I mouthed the opera singing and I put it on Instagram and people really liked it. It was really funny.
Well, you need to do that again.
If she can't have students for now.
Oh, you're right.
So we hear her playing it. And my husband, he does little like finger puppets to the singers too. La, 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 outside her door. We really appreciate her. We've never met her, but I really appreciate her.
Oh, you're funny. All right. Well, I love you, Kathy Najimy. This was so fun. Keep DMing me because I love to hear from you on Instagram.
I will. One of my first 10 cups of coffee is going to be with you.
Okay. Good. And enjoy Starbucks when it reopens.
All right, darling.
All right. Love you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye. That was so fun. Good thing I put my hair. So excited.